started something quite interesting, revealing, insightful with Michael Ohiniofa. He is the co-founder of Lead Africa. And today he'll be touching on the inner circle of relationships proper. And he says, going to be talking about holding the cup. And we'll be finding out what's in this cup, and all we need to know about holding the cup. Please, we are live on Facebook. Please share the link with a brother, share with a friend, share with fathers. The Unfiltered Fatherhood series is part 2 with Michael Ohiniofa this morning. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes. Yesterday was great.
Yes, we thank God.
Yes. And the Lord is laying something on your heart about holding the cup. What kind of cup?
I prepared for this 2-day session last week, which is how I normally prepare for my public presentations. But just driving here this dawn, I got prompted to change my message. So I'm going to talk about a very interesting concept, but something that is bedeviling a lot of homes, especially Christian homes. This is fresh message for a new season. So please, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, please give me a listening ear, because this is coming straight from some place deep. The observation that I've made, all of us when we are getting married, part of the vows that we say is to have and to hold, for better, for worse, till death do us part. Now, to have and to hold is very deep. You have your bride or groom on the wedding day or during the marriage ceremony, where you have your marriage's relationships that are cracked because something happened, it hasn't been resolved or repaired, and we keep going. Oh, and kwadaniti. Oh, because I'm a church elder. Oh, because I'm a pastor. Oh, because of my social status. So there's a crack. And we either mend, repair, or put some sellotape or something around it, and we keep moving. That's the second outcome of the falling. The third one is the cup can shatter. It can break. Pasa. Now, we don't want that, because we say we will hold till death do us part. Now, how do we prevent shattering when the cup falls? It is in the way you relate with your spouse. It is in the way that you live with your spouse. Because provided you are relating well, you are living well with your partner till death, nothing can separate the two of you. But if you don't take care, there will either be a crack or it can withstand. So that is going to be the focus of today's discussion. Now the question is, how do you hold the cup? How do you relate such that things will be okay? Now, I say that it is our divine right to enjoy our marriages. We should not endure our marriages. So how do we do that? We shouldn't just go through the motions of being married and let the outside world tell us that, nowadays, no. We have to have fulfilled, happy marriages. And that is when you are holding the cup well.
And I want to find out from you, what are some of the elements that could cause the cup to fall? If we can touch on some of these things.
The cup can fall when you are not holding it well, when you are not focused, or when you trip. So there are internal factors and external factors. Now, some of the internal factors are neglect. A lot of men neglect their marriages. They say, oh, but I'm still married to you. I haven't asked you to leave.
I put a ring on your finger.
So there is no deliberate nurturance of the relationship. Everything else is front facing or outside facing. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, financially, spiritually, a lot of men have checked out of their relationships. So neglect can cause the cup to fall. We are not investing in the relationship after marriage. Everything
is it right when some people say that sometimes when a man marries, it's like he's just won this trophy and he put it down somewhere. He's moving on to the next battle to win some kind of victory and then move on to the next thing. Would that be accurate?
Very accurate. You know what we do to trophies? We put them in a nice, cupboard or cabin? Exactly.
Yes.
So yes, I've married you, I brought you home, I provide for. What's your problem? Don't I pay the children's school fees? What again do you want? But women need more than just the provision role. The provision is just one aspect of our life. So neglect can cause the cup to fall. The other one is hurtful words. And in my work, and as we do a lot of these things around the country, we see a lot of this happening. A lot of women are emotionally battered because of the words that their husbands pour on them. So some are not neglecting, they are inside, but the communication from them. And it takes just a little deviation for them to just issue a barrage of hurtful words on their spouses. Failing to do provide the food, failing to bring the food early, serving cold food. The children are not ready for school. It's the wife's fault. Everything is about life, and so they break the spirits of their wives, and they think it is their divine right to be able to do that because the Bible says you must submit to me. Neglect, hurtful words. The other one is controlling behavior. A lot of men want to control everything about their wife because for them, the interpretation of the biblical injunction of the man is the head of the house is that they must control everything the woman does, including what they wear to church. Controlling behavior. So everything is control, command and control. I say this, I'm the head of the house, I'm your husband. Everything is control. Even, you can lead from the back. I have a concept called you can lead from the back. And so the control, not hearing anybody else in the relationship, not even the children, not even the wife's voice. Everything is a command. These husbands behave as if they were there when God gave Moses the tablet. So for them, commandments, the commandments of the Hinifa home, the commandments of the Apia home, the commandments of the Mensa home, everything is a command. Do it because I'm the husband, I'm your head, everything is a command. So controlling behavior. Now, when you go back and look into such men, their control is born out of fear.
What are some of these fears they have?
Because they don't want to lose power. They think that if they don't control, then you would, once again, to use yesterday, so you will over them. You will dominate. So I don't want my wife to dominate. And so then I become the controlling figure. And everything is now do as I say, do as I say, do as I say. Because there's a fear of losing control. The other thing that generates or gives effect to this controlling behavior is also the mental pictures some men have of marriages. Because some men grew up with uncles, with grandfathers, with this in a different era. And they saw how their grandmothers served their grandfathers as if they were gods. And so they had that picture that me too, one day when I marry, I must be treated like that. But they forget that their grandfather and grandmother had lived in a different culture, lived in a different era. Your grandmother was a farmer. Your wife is an insurance executive. She's the head of a department. And yet he wants the wife to behave just like the grandmother treated the grandfather. So that image, how they grew up, the atmosphere when they were growing up, and their sense of what a husband should be is what is leading to this controlling behavior by the men of today. Controlling behavior. Then the other one is dishonesty. A lot of relationships are not born out of transparency or integrity. And so today is a little one here, a little one there, a little one there becomes a pattern, it becomes a behavior. That could cause the cup to drop. And then finally, unrepaired conflict. And I'm a big one when it comes to that. I've studied it like I'm going to write exams on it.
Powerful. I mean, last year, I remember the couples retreat, you touched on
that. Yeah. Conflict is good for marriages and relationships. Conflict is not bad. But it is unrepaired conflict that causes problems. So when you have a conflict with your wife and you don't take the trouble to repair, to resolve it, it can then degenerate into other cracks, other things. Those of us who've had our windscreens crack, we know what it is. If you don't repair it, what happens is start going off in all directions. Very soon you have the West Africa map on your windscreen because you didn't repair the first crack. And that's the same thing with conflict. That little hurtful word in the morning, that was not resolved. You come back in the evening and continue mentally. And so a little word here triggers an old one that happened 3 days ago. And so if we don't take time to sit down and to repair, it can cause a shatter or a crack in the cup. So these are, from my point, the things that make the cup drop. And it doesn't help us to have and then to hold till death do us part.
This is Sunny 88.7 FM Unfiltered Fatherhood Series with Michael Oheniefa. We are live on Facebook. You can join us. If you have a question, you can drop it below the live feed. If you have a comment, you can do that as well. I see William Danso has joined us. Good morning to you, William. And Mama says, that cracked cup, sebi. I sense that's where a lot of Christian marriages are at. So, Michael, as you shared some of the elements or some of the factors that could cause the cracks, and some of us are checking some of these boxes, 1, 2, 3. Some of us have checked like 5 boxes. Some of the men are checking quite a number and thinking, I need to make a change.
Yeah.
How do we do that? How do the men do that?
Good question. You are very intelligent. What school were you in?
The Tisha, when you're first school.
10 over 10. Good question. Now, this is how I see it. Number 1, what you focus on produces results for you. What you give attention to produces results for you. So part of the challenges that we are having in our marriages, relationships, is we tend to focus on the wrong things. And then it amplifies or magnifies for us. So if you want to hold the cup, to have and to hold, what you need to do is to change your mindset on what you focus on as far as your wife is concerned. If you want to focus on your wife's mistakes, you see some every second, every minute, because it will keep magnifying. Even the way she'll serve you food, you will see a disrespect in it. In your mind, I told you she doesn't respect. Look at the way she even just put my food on the table. Bang, like that. It will continue to magnify for you because that is what you have focused on. It's psychology. It's pure psychology. So what you need to do to continue to have and not have these cracks is focus on your wife's qualities and strengths. Focus on positive qualities and strengths. You see, there was a reason, I say this all the time, there is a reason why you finally settled on your spouse. There were some qualities. Of all the women that you saw growing up in your neighborhood, in school, in church, in your workplace and everything, there were some qualities you saw in your spouse that made you say, aha, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Focus on those qualities. And if you focus on it, it will also produce results for you. So even when she does something wrong, you don't focus on the wrong things. If you focus on the petty little things, they will magnify for you. And the more they magnify, the more you lose the interest and the sweetness in your marriage. So choose what you focus on. Focus on strengths, focus on qualities, not on weaknesses and shortcomings. That's the first thing that you do to be able to hold the cup. The second one is, when something goes wrong at home, focus on the behavior, not on the personality. There's a difference. The fact that I do something wrong doesn't make me a stupid person. So when you say stupid person, you are attacking my person and not my behavior, what I did. You get it. So when your wife does something and say, look, you behave like a child, you are attacking her person, not what she did. Now, when you do that, you break her spirit. When you do that, you harm her, sometimes irreparably. And the woman will magnify that also in her world. Gradually, you begin to get cold. The cracks are deepening, widening. And then before you know it, you've both checked out emotionally. So focus on the behavior and not on the person. The behavior and the person are two different things. The fact that I cook and maybe salt was a little more than usual or there was no salt in it does not make me a bad person.
Michael, for a man who's seeing that his wife is behaving in a way he feels is stupid, is learning today to not use the word that you are stupid. Yeah. Can you give us an example how this man can couch how he feels without breaking her and yet she gets the message?
Great. So let's assume you ask her to do something and she forgot. Now, the forgetfulness is a behavior, it's an act, it's a practice. It's different from who she is as a human being. So you can go ballistic and say, that's what you do all the time. I've told you you don't respect me. Even when I tell you to do something, you don't do it. That's how you are. And then some men will even go and attack her tribe. Or if that is, Fantifo, that's how you are. Or you see, then they begin to go into some other realms. And then the woman too will respond in like measure, which is what women are very good at. So that is
Which
when
you've
you
studied
focus
it like
on
exam paper.
you know. So that is when you focus on the person. But you could say, "Oh, honey, what happened? Did you?" So I forgot. Oh, all right. No worries. Tomorrow, can you get it done tomorrow? So fine, I'll be able to. Or let me just send a dispatch rider to deliver the thing for you because it's very, very important to you. Next time, please, because this document had to be delivered at the office. It's very important to me. You've dealt with the behavior, the act, and not the person. So it's a focus thing, it's a mindset thing. And you need to remind yourself regularly that what she does is different from who she is. Let's assume that she cooked for you and you didn't really like the thing. Or let's assume that some visitors came and she took maybe the only meat in the freezer and used it to cook for the people. You can go ballistic and say, Semi-kind, the way you do this thing, how are we going to build? How are we going to buy plots in this Accra when you have to use all this meat for people? Framework that you can use to be able to do that very well. There's something called SBI, Situation, Behavior, Impact. So what was the situation? Oh, dear, when we went to your parents' house the other time, you people were making funny jokes about people from my tribe. It really hurt me. So the situation, when we went to your parents' house, you people were making some funny jokes. I know you didn't mean it, but the conversation went on that tangent of my people. That was the word, the behavior, the impact. I really didn't like it. I felt very bad because I was amongst your siblings and you guys were making fun of my tribe. Impact. But that is SBI, situation, behavior, impact. The impact on me when you did this thing. Now you could also go and say, yes, I have always known that you people are racist. You don't respect. Look at how you took me and made me pass out in front of your family people. You. So if you speak from your perspective, the other person more likely will listen to you. But if you attack the person, then they are likely to be defensive, and then they will also rebut or retort in equal measure, pressed down, shaking together. And that is where the cracks begin to widen. Now, I have a simple thing. You can give feedback using the fufu method, or you can give feedback using the sandwich method. You know how fufu is? One muscle, bam. So feedback, one muscle, bam. You don't know how to cook. Look at you. You say you are this and this. Outside, you say you are this. Look at what you are doing now. Bam, feedback, fufu method. Every woman goes to work and comes to cook. You alone, you say you don't know. Why? Are you the only woman in Accra? Don't all women pass through traffic? That's the fufu method. Bam. You just drop it. You don't care about what it does to the other person. The sandwich method, you know how sandwich is? Or burger.
Yes, I do.
There's the bread, there's the inner filling, then
some
bread.
Beef, yes,
so
some onions.
Using the sandwich method, you come with praise, compliment, you give the feedback another praise so you can repair. You don't leave the person in a worse state. So you can do that.
So compliment or praise?
Or praise, give the feedback, another compliment or praise.
Oh. Okay.
You see, so you can come in and say, honey, you see, already you put her in a positive emotional state. In fact, when we went to your parents, they would think you people were sorry. It made me. Next time, please check some of these things because I know you guys were not deliberate, but it had a certain thing, we don't want to go into those things. By the way, Charlie, what you wore to church was nice. So another compliment. You see,
this is a good one,
exactly.
Michael.
So when you do that, the person you don't leave them in a worse off state. So you have said, you have communicated without hurting or killing anybody. You know, oh, honey, Charlie, how is it? Wow, this earring, I haven't seen it before. When did you buy it? You know, yesterday you were supposed to drop this document for me. You didn't do it. Please, that tender, if you don't drop it, I'm in trouble. So can you please do it? Anyway, thank you for the jollof last night. You see the way it is.
Strategy.
Strategy. That's how you hold the cup. That's how you don't drop the cup. So you can do just about anything provided you are mindful and you are in awareness. A lot of the time we are not in awareness, and that is how come we create conflict and then we drop the cup. You can come in and say, honey, thank you very much for leaving work early so you can do this soup for us. I appreciate it. But, as a namnonedi, the meat, you didn't really look. Can you please? But if you come in and say, look at you. You say you are a manager. You don't even know how to cook. That's the fufu method. Bam. And when you do that, it hurts the person. And they are also going to go off in another tangent. So if we can watch this, in fact, a lot of our challenges in our relationships and marriages are from some of these things. Just the communication, how we are talking, how we are handling issues, how we are relating every day at home. If we can learn to live well, communicate well, because that is what Proverbs 15:1 tells us. It says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And then you look at Ephesians 4, it says, do not let unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. So if husbands can unwholesome, words, pay attention. And we do this even to the children. We are killing our children by the words we use, simply for little things that they either do or don't do. And we're killing the children by words that we are using. And then the fourth one, you see, we need to check our relationship with power, with control, and with women. A lot of men, I mentioned this briefly, but a lot of men are afraid of losing power and control. So their relations, they have a very disjointed, manipulated idea of power and then of control, because it is what they saw when they were growing up, the power distance. And so they bring that into their marriages and their relationships. But as I said, you and your spouse are highly educated. You are graduates, you are master's degree holders. And yet you want to, your picture, your relationship with power is the one from your parent who lived in a different culture from the two of you. You and your spouse, maybe you met in London when you were both students. Your culture is very different from that of your father and your mother. And yet you've come back to Ghana and expect now is London, London, now we are in Ghana. This is Ghana. This is reality. And I hear a lot of men say this. This is reality. What is reality? Whose reality? So a lot of men need to check how they see women. And it is more dangerous now in our university campuses. A lot of men feel they are entitled to women. They are entitled to the bodies of women. They are entitled to submission from women. Women should kowtow to them. Women should bow down to them. Women should put their hands at their back when they are talking to them, forgetting that the game has changed. The rules have changed. The circumstances have changed. The wider environment has changed. And yet we are operating with 1980 principles. So check and if your husband is a controlling type, please do your own research, deck study, and find out how he grew up, what power relationships he saw or experienced. Therein lies the solution. And you may want to go get help from a professional to be able to deconstruct and to be able to repair so that you can have an enjoyable marriage.
Thank you very much, Michael. I remember it was last year's couples retreat that for the first time I started seeing conflicts in a positive light and I started approaching things differently. Let me just get to some messages here. This one is, good morning, Sunny. This education is like the marriage counseling that I wish we had to have. Hey, thank God. We are both in the car and it's like a cemetery. Hey, madam, it's good you did add your name. Let me take this one. It says JDD, all right, God bless you for me, Michael. I wish my husband was listening to you. JDD, ask Michael if he lives in my house. Anna, hey, God, I really am speaking God's really speaking through him about exactly what I'm going through in my home. God bless you, Papa.
Amen.
And this one too says, these are powerful insights in marriage, golden nuggets for the survival of every marriage. God bless you for this info. And this from Kukua, listening from Spintex.
Amen.
This one says, God bless Mr. Fa for me. If you know, you know I'm pa. Please let him summarize the points for us after he's done. I'm parked outside my gate waiting till he's done. Golden nuggets. And this one too says, this is great wisdom being shared. A little observation on another crack is that men must appreciate and accept wives that happen to be more successful than them. They shouldn't see them as competition, but rather encourage them to go higher. Michael, I think it's important you tackle this for us, because some women experience this. They are really into support to be their best, but the other side is not giving them the kind of energy they need.
Yeah. That's why I said it's the man's notion of control, of fear. It's a fear. Actually, it's driven by fear that if my wife is more successful than me, then she will not submit. She will not respect. I will lose my power over her. Now, for most men, they think that money is what gives them the power, but it is not money. When the Bible says why should submit, why there was no if clause that you submit your husband only when he's successful or he's higher in rank than you. So as I said, a lot of us men grew up with a certain notion of power. And so we bring that into the relationship. And because that is our worldview, we think that a successful woman will not know how to submit. So this is where the problem is. It's driven and born out of fear. So we need to work with men on that fear. That is the solution. Until we do that, we will not be able to resolve these issues. And that thing, as I keep saying, that the role of women have changed in the last 80 years. That of men have not changed. Women were supposed to be homemakers, the domestic side of the equation, take care of the children and everything. But in the last 70 years, women have become providers. They've moved from homemaking to provision. But they have also still retained their homemaking function. The role of the man as a provider, the hunter and the gatherer, has not changed. And so we are in a fix. How to now work with a woman who's playing a dual role now, working to support the family so we can maintain our lifestyle. And also me still expecting her to be the submissive homemaking partner in the equation. That is where we need to support a lot of men to get it right. And so please, our advice, if you can get a coach for your husband, if you think that
Michael,
he's the
this one that you're saying
controlling
that get a coach for a husband. It sounds simple, but I don't know if the doing will be that simple, Michael.
Well,
how can one be tactful about it so that he's more open to
once
receiving
again,
a coach?
so similar principles apply.
Okay.
If you go in and say, did you hear what Michael said on radio? Who hear more?
Yeah.
Then you are also doing the fufu method.
Okay.
It won't work. But there's a way you can. Last year, you remember some of the testimonies that were shared at the couples retreat, where some women engineered and brought their husbands there without them even knowing. That is a very good way to go about it. Participating in some of these initiatives, the one that Amos also organized, Creative Couples Conclave and others, it will, because you see, we will never change our minds until we get access to new information. So if there's no new information, the mindset won't change. But then again, let me also do the reverse. When women are successful, does that change the way they also relate to their husbands? So we need to look at that part of the equation.
In some cases, I would say I see
Exactly.
it does.
Because then you accentuate the fear. If he says one, you say two. Because after all, what? Then you accentuate the fear. And then you continue to widen that thing of losing control. And so the man now becomes more harder, more aggressive, because the fear has been heightened. So women also need to balance it.
Thank you very much. And this one says, hey, Mr. Fa, so we can't get angry again.
Yes.
So we can't get angry and not let the sun go down on it all.
Why do you want to be angry?
And this one says, God bless you, Michael, for these insights. What if the values you saw before the marriage change? Good one.
Why is it changing? Why is it changing? Why or how does behavior change value? Then it wasn't a value.
So it appeared to be before the marriage, but what you're seeing now is what really is.
And what did you see before the marriage? Now, there's a difference between qualities and values. So what did you look at before the marriage? And why are you now looking at it differently? It's your interpretation. So check the way you are interpreting these things.
And this one says, this man is really, okay, let me take it from the top. Is there anywhere to listen to their P podcast? Oh, okay. It's on Facebook, so you can just go and click it and watch again. I really love my husband to listen and very educative and informative. This is D listening in from Germany. It says, this man is really filled with wisdom. God bless him. Amen. This one says, tell Mr. Fa to write a book. My husband isn't around to listen to him. And this one says, the sandwich method. Yes, I've learned something new myself. Says we have to use this for the children as well.
Yes.
That's a good one. Yeah. Says also, can we say that on the side of the men, they need to understand that submission is inspired, not demanded, and attempts to demand submission either births fear or rebellion. On the side of women, we need to understand, like Sir Michael said, that submission is a command without a conditional clause. You want to touch on that? Or we can go ahead.
I think I share in the sentiment that it is inspired. I mean, I tell people all the time, you will never see Asantehene going, hey, don't you know I'm the Asantehene? Bow down before me. He doesn't. He inspires a certain reverence, a certain, even a certain awe, by the way he comports and conducts himself. I say this when I do leadership training. When you are a leader, a boss, and you have to tell people you are the boss, you've lost it. The day you tell people, do this because I'm the boss, you've lost it. You stop inspiring, you are now manipulating. So anytime a husband says, because I'm the husband, you have to do this. The Bible, and some will now quote, the Bible says you must, the moment you start doing that, man, you've lost it. So you need to comport and conduct yourself in a way that the submission will come naturally from the woman because you are leading. But where you have to demand, you have to repeat, you've lost it. If Nana Akufo-Addo has to go everywhere telling us that, hey, don't you know I'm the president? He ceases to be the president, even though officially we may not remove him from office. But you see that when he appears, there's a certain aura that naturally you would be motivated. And that is what men need to do. That we need to motivate and inspire our women by the way we conduct ourselves.
Okay, this one says the burger compliments will bugger. Okay, I'm not really getting that part. Okay, it says interesting. If my hand is behind me, how do I play with your ears? Our men allow us spoil you. Thank you for the session this morning. Abigail is listening in from Spintex. This one says the fufu and sandwich has really made my day and taught me a great lesson. This is Frank. Frank is a boat driver listening in, and I have a voice note here. It's a minute 26 seconds. I'll get back to it. But let me get onto Facebook. We have quite a number of people watching us here. Ifua says conflict is good for marriages and relationships. Philip K. Nati says good morning. Hayfoot says watching live from East Legon Hills much. I'm learning a lot, yes. And Ifua says focus on one's qualities and strengths. I'm going to run with this in my marriage. God bless you, sir.
Bless you,
Nana
Ifua.
says focus on your wife's good qualities. Amma Kwekufeka says very insightful fufu method. Amma again says watching and following since Monday from Takrade. Ifua says, Mr. Honyafa is deep. I just love his presentation. I'm learning a whole lot. And Misa says, can I have this conversation downloaded? We'll get in touch. Philip K. Nazi says, God bless you, sir. And Misa says, God bless you, Michael. However, I need to get my husband to listen to this piece. Ifua says, I'm going to share the link with my husband, ASAP. You're a deep, Michael. God bless you. And let me check to see if this voice note is in line.
Hello, Sunny FM. Good morning. Sorry. Hello, Sunny FM. Good morning. Sorry, I'm driving. I can't type. Okay, so I like this topic. Unfortunately, my husband I just alighted him at work. Okay, so I want you to address this for me. Sometimes when we have a little issues or he has offended me and I'm expecting him to apologize, he'll rather become silent. So both of us become silent and I'm also expecting him to talk about the issue. he doesn't say anything about it. Is it okay me expecting him to apologize, or it's okay for me to draw him closer? So I realized at the end of the day, I still on the side of go to him, talk to him, and then still apologize, even though he is supposed to apologize. Secondly, he's a very good person. He has not changed. He's still like that. Today's our 3 years. He's been like that since we got married. Nothing has changed about him. What I want him to work on is when there is something that we need to talk about, it's better we talk about it than he going silent. But he has been the best father, the best husband. And I've said this before on your show. I have never missed home. Yes, so please, can you address this for me? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that one. I would say you've touched on a little bit of it already. So, yeah. Okay. And
let me quickly add. So, Madam, first of all, check what meanings you ascribe to the apology. Why is that so important to you yourself? So, you need to query yourself. And then, secondly, some men are introverts, some are melancholics by temperament. And for those people, they play a lot in their own minds. And for them to communicate, it takes them a great deal of effort and energy for them to be able to do that. So what you want to do to avoid these silent battles is to help him gradually so he gets out of that. Make it easy for him. Sometimes he's feeling very guilty, but the man in him will not allow him to come to you and apologize. So you can just go and hug him and say that, you know what you did this morning, I didn't really like it, but I've forgiven you, let's move on. So make it easy. And as you continue to do that, gradually he will learn to communicate what he's going through in his mind.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. So we are wrapping up on the conversation this morning. This one says, thank you, sir, Michael. I really hope we were both listening, and I like this one. It says, will this morning session be available? So we've been streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can always go back and share the link with your loved ones so they can also learn a thing or two. And I mean, our homes can be better, our fathers can also be better, our men can be better, and wives also listening in can also know how to support the men and the fathers of the home. So Michael, thank you so much. This one says, how do you fix trust-related cracks? Michael, I know I was going to say we should wrap this up, but this is so important. I was speaking to a lady and she said, my husband cheated on me. Now he can sense that I don't trust him much, but he is like, he's angry that I don't trust him. I mean, how do you fix that kind of crack?
First of all, you need to repair. When trust is a major crack, the cup has been dropped so heavily, that is a major crack. Now, just treating it flippantly is just putting some glue, super glue on that crack in the cup. So you need to really, if you can't do it yourself, get a professional to support you to bridge and to discuss what were the issues that led to the affair. Now, the research is that 68%, which is 7 out of 10, when a man cheats, he still loves his wife. Yeah, 68% of the time. For men, sex is an act. So he can engage in it without really being emotionally involved, because men are moved by sight. Women are moved more by emotions. And so 7 out of 10, a man who cheats still loves the wife. And so nothing changes. Yes, of course, he's done something. So you need to get into what happened. There are both push and pull factors. So have a dispassionate discussion around it so that you can then bring it in together. Now agree on new trust behaviors going forward. What led? I'm not pushing the blame on the woman, but in discussing it dispassionately, you may realize that there were some things. Maybe there was a period of silence, there was a period of emotional detachment, maybe he traveled and he felt vulnerable. There are so many. Once you discuss and get to the bottom of the issue, you can then agree new trust behaviors going forward. So it has to be discussed. And for my money, this is better than when you get away. The environment itself is conducive for having new conversations. So if you can do a getaway, and then have that kind of conversation. But if the two of you can't handle it, please get professional help.
professional help discussed dispassionately.
Right.
Thank you very much, Michael. And Nana Alphonse is also watching us as good submissions. Thank you. So unfortunately, my time is up. I wish we could go on. But tomorrow we have another insightful session with another guest for the Unfiltered Fatherhood series. But there's something that Lead Africa is doing as we're talking about building families and supporting men. I believe it starts from a very young age.
That's right.
And I'd love you to share with us how Lead Africa is supporting the young ones.
So every year for the last 10 years, we have organized a summer camp for children with the idea that it is easy to build young people than to wait till they are, old. And so we do this summer camp. It's a 7-day camp where we place the emphasis on efficiency, the things that we need. I call it the University of Hard Knocks, the things that we need to build life. What we have observed is that our schools are gradually becoming too much on the academic side of our children's development. Everything is on grades. And so there are some key life issues, key life principles, key life skills that are gradually missing out on the school curriculum. So our summer camp is to bridge that gap. And we've been doing it for the last 10. This is our Camp X, the 10th one. And this year we are focusing on skills for our children. And so we are going to take them away for 7 days where they will learn everything, modern digital skills, how to use social media well. They are going to learn how to manage the home, how to lay a bed, how to, take care of their rooms. They are going to engage. We are bringing in a traditional person who will take them through Ghana, let them understand the Ghana in which they've been born. We are going to bring grandmothers there who will teach them, the home wisdom that we are missing today. So this year, there's a deliberate focus on skills. Last year, we focused on throwing them into the world. So we spent half a day in a little village where they saw village life. We took them camping. They spent 2 nights camping in the outdoors. And then they did kayaking. They did so many things. These are the things we are missing because today the children are mostly in their rooms. They go to school, they are in their rooms because of the gadgets. So the best investment you can make in your child is an investment that will keep giving even when they are in their teens. Our youngest ages are 6 years. And we take up to 18, 19. We've even had 21-year-olds in our camp. Because even though we are in one space, there's actually 4 camps. The upper teens are in their camp. Pre-teens are in their camp. 8 to 10 years are in their camp. And then 6, 7, 8 are also in their camp. And it's a very action-packed, fun-filled experience. And we cap it with a parents forum on the last day of the camp where we engage parents. Sometime last year, we had about 70 parents in one room and we discussed parenting. After that, you take your child away. So please call 0244 235549 or send a WhatsApp. We'll respond to you 0244 235549. And we'll get, or you can go on our website, leadafric.org, and you get all the info that you need. We'll respond to you.